I'll call the Stark County Commission meeting to order with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Does anybody have any ratifications to the agenda? Mike, I'm kind of loud. There are no ratifications. We have a motion to approve the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll go to the minutes. The minutes from the June 7th meeting, 2022. Does anybody have any corrections to the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve June 7th, 2022 minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Accounts payable. Any corrections? Oh, I am sorry, I jumped ahead. We also have minutes from the June 27th, 2022 special meeting for the election proceedings, the canvassing. Need a motion on that.
I'll move that we accept canvassing minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now we'll go into accounts payable.
Which non-departmental?
Turn your mic on, Bernie.
What falls under non-departmental?
Usually that's like departmental, like supplies
Oh.
or anything like that, that for the general, for the ones that don't have their individual line items.
If there are no corrections to the minutes, could I get a motion, please?
I would move approving the bills as presented. And I was just trying to find the supplement. In the amount of $425,915.62.
I'll second.
Okay, we'll do roll call vote. Commissioner Messer,
Aye.
Commissioner Franchek,
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carried.
I'm sorry, Commissioner, you're just approving the bills continued page, or you're going to be approving?
The supplement. Well,
Okay, because we have to approve the resolution and the bills continued then. Because that amount 425,915.62 is just the bills continued page.
okay.
Is the supplement?
Gotcha.
is-
So
okay.
it should, Madam Chairman, I'll amend, well, it's already approved, so we could take that number to 426,431.14. Is that what you're
The,
asking for?
the resolution cover page is 472,437.05. And then the bills continued is the 425,915.62. So if you just want to approve to pay the resolution and the bills continued, that should cover both.
Actually, the new sheet we got is 426 isn't it?
Yep.
The one the one right there underneath your book. Right here, the one under your arm. Flip that over.
Oh, the sheriff. Okay. So we need both the bills continued, we need both the resolution at 472, 437.05 and the bills continued at 426, 431.14.
So moved.
Second that.
You can't hear me?
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote again, I guess. Neil, or Commissioner Messer,
Aye.
Commissioner Franchek,
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carried. Sheriff's report, Corey Lee.
Chairman, Commissioners, good morning.
Morning.
All right, highlights for the Stark County Sheriff's Department for the month of June 2022. Total calls for service were 1,586. This is up from 1,531 last year. 204 traffic stops. This is down from 279 last year. 43 stops in the city of Dickinson, 161 stops in the county and neighboring small towns, 302 public relations stops. This is up from 258. 10 bar checks. That's down from 17. 8 theft-related calls for service. That's up from 5 this time last year. 56 canine usages, which is up considerably. We responded to 14 accidents, 2 pedestrians, 0 fatality, 1 hit and run, 4 injury, and 7 property accidents. We had 105 total arrests, which is a considerably high number. Usually we average in that 80, around that 80 mark. So Belfield is keeping us quite busy. They're getting their money's worth out of this deal, I think. Lots of calls and investigations going on over there. Rough Rider Days events, we couldn't be more pleased with how things went. We threw a lot of man hours at that. We had a high profile, high visibility kind of theory we tried out this year. We always do it, but this year, of course, was the first year we had the carnival out there, so we had to operate a little bit differently. And, I can't recall in all my years of doing this not having a call for service out at the carnival. We didn't have one fight. We didn't have one anything. So I think having that visibility and manpower there really made a difference. So went very smoothly. It was good. I don't really, for the entirety of Rough Rider Days, even outside of the carnival, I don't think we had one call out at the fairgrounds. So like I said, we had some heavy visibility there for all the events, and went well. I was going to introduce our new emotional support K9, but Eldon's off today. I was planning on having him bring her down here, but so she's up at the office. Does anybody have any questions about her or anything else?
So when you use this new dog, I mean, do you just take her to schools, or where do you all take her to for?
So some of the things we have in mind, obviously, will deviate from this when people, want the assistance. But we have some of the things I have here are public relations stops, assisted living center, senior center, schools, Sunrise Youth Bureau, domestic violence, Hope's Landing, sober living centers, Chatter Youth Services, some of the death notifications we do and things like that. Like we talked about on the post that I did regarding this initially. People said one dog's not enough. You can't be everywhere. Well, that's kind of the premise of law enforcement. We're never going to be everywhere. But we're going to help where we can and certainly respond when we're called with her as much as we can. So it's kind of that same, idea, I guess. She's already been to several of these places, and it's actually going very well. Her name is Myra. She was named after Penny Lewis's daughter that passed away a few weeks ago. Penny was contacted first, of course, and very gracious in letting us do that. So I think that's a nice tribute and memoriam to a very special lady. But anything else?
I'm anxious to see how this program or how the dog's going to work out.
As am I. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
County Road, Mr. Heiser.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Not a lot of things to report other than our sponge is getting a little full out in the country. As far as the road department, we were hauling some scoria out south of Belfield, doing some roads out there. Then we ended up picking up some millings off of Highway 8, off of the state project, about 16 miles there. We're stockpiling them in Richardson and in Dickinson shop. Doing some miscellaneous culvert works throughout the county. Spots it now with this rain, it's gonna kind of slow that process up because, they're gonna be really wet. Other than that, we've got some construction projects going on, but I think I'll let our engineers report on what they got going, so there's duplicating up. But other than that, I really don't have a lot to report on unless you got something for me. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Box culvert signed agreement with the DOT. Who's that with, Karen?
We can, either Al or Mike.
Is that Mike? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming, I never got anything from the DOT on this. I'm assuming it's for, first item that was on my agenda was a BRP 0045074.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so this is the Stark County contract. The low bid, apparent low bidder was, Central Specialties at $558,747. My engineer's estimate was was 471, so a couple things I think contributed to those high prices are the bid date, I'm sorry, not the bid date, but the completion date is until October of 23. I think it's difficult for these contractors to foresee that far ahead with gas prices, all the escalating prices and stuff, so. And then just the escalating prices of everything now, so. But I'd recommend approval, unless anybody's got any questions.
What's the cost share on that one?
That is 100% up to, I think it was 460 some thousand. So the county will have to pay the difference. 463,000, I believe, so.
Our percentage is 460,000.
The DOT, yes. When I applied for the funding way back in January, and since then, all the escalating prices, so we got approved for 100% up to the 463,000, and then
So we did 190,000 or whatever it is.
Yeah, so our share is about 95,000.
it'll be, yes, plus construction engineering fees.
Ms. Arthod, and for your information, that was that House Bill 1505 funding. We were approved for 3 projects. And whatever the estimate was, we get 100% of that estimate. So like Mike is alluding to, anything over that. So if you look back, normally on a project like that, we'd be up for 20%. So I guess, and with everything the way it is, we don't know where these prices are going, but other than up. So thank you.
Okay.
So you want a separate motion for that right now? Yep, okay. I move that we authorize Chairman Arthod to sign the project 45074.
I'll say a second.
Okay, roll call vote. Commissioner Messer,
Aye.
Commissioner Franchek.
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carried. Is that it?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Interstate Engineering, James Cattermas.
Morning, Commission.
Good morning.
Just the one design project for 38th Street Southwest Bridge Replacement in South Hart. We're moving right along with plans and stuff, but we kind of hit a snag with the department's ARC list. There was a couple of projects that were ahead of us for review. On the archaeological stuff, they will send the report to SHPO. Once it's complete, this delay has pushed the bid date to January 2023. any questions on that project. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Noyce. Sorry about that.
It's okay. Mike Ness, Highlands Engineering. Yeah, moving on, the first item I already covered, so second item, the bridge replacement, 8 miles north and 4 miles east of Richardson. This project is pending funding, and we're in the middle of design and gonna submit the CADX to the DOT. This project kind of ties into my last item too with the bridge replacements and removals. I just submitted about 7 applications to the DOT for bridge funding. That was due on the 30th, and this is additional monies that came from the federal highway bill. And I haven't got any indication from DOT when they're gonna make decisions on this, but we're hoping to, hopefully by August or so, we'll get some more funding for concentrating more on some of the poor condition bridges. Higher traffic bridges are gonna concentrate and getting those off the poor list, so we'll see what we get, and hopefully we'll get funding for that. This one north of Richardson too is one of those, so. Other than that, that's all I have. Anybody got any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Northern Plains, Jeremy Wood.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Morning.
Just a few brief updates, starting with 127th and 131st bridge replacements that were mostly done last year. Last couple weeks, we got the seeding done on the both projects, so the only thing that's left is grouting the riprap, which they've indicated will be pretty soon. But I guess we'll kind of see where they're at with things, but they're kind of running out of time to get that done, so it should happen pretty soon. Next project's 38th Street, southwest of Richardson. They did set the box culvert last Wednesday, I believe. It's backfilled. The rain is obviously slowing things down, but they got about a week left of grading, and then that should be pretty much roughed in, almost complete within about a week. Some of the other ones, future project for the summer, 83rd and 86th, further south Richardson, starting possibly September, most likely October for those projects. Paving project, we're looking at mid-July. I think that's even optimistic. We're probably looking at a couple weeks out to get started on that project. 32nd and 107th, north and east of Dickinson. Contractors indicated August, which I think is pretty believable. We're doing some utility coordination and some other things on that project in preparation for the starting date in August. So hopefully in a month that'll get going here. Design projects, just a couple real brief updates again. 131st, everything's been turned into the DOT, waiting for their SHPO review, which is the state archaeologist review, also the Corps to review things, and I think they've got dozens of projects that are waiting to be reviewed. I'm not exactly sure where at the list, but I think we're early enough. It's only July. We have to have things turned in by September for a November bid opening, so I think we'll make that, but it's more or less review time is what we're waiting for in that one. 127th, we're also waiting for the state archaeologist on how much additional work we'll be needing. We're hoping to get that one bid by November. I'm less optimistic on that one just because of the potential for extra work on that project. Other than that, that was really about all I had on my list. I didn't show it on here, but we also sent in a few applications for bridge replacement funding. That was due last week. I think we sent 3 in. I think one has a really good chance of being approved. The other 2 maybe not quite so much, but there's a lot of bridge funding out there. Just a matter of finding the right projects that qualify for it, so. Questions from commission? If not, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Planning and zoning, Mr. Josephson.
Good morning, Commissioner Steve Josephson, County Planner.
Good morning.
Good morning. There was one public hearing before the Planning and Zoning Commission on June 30th, 2022, and it was Taylor and Jessica Landis requesting a rezoning from agriculture to rural residential on a parcel located in the northwest quarter of Section 31, Township 140 North, Range 97. It's approximately 6.34 acres. They want to build a house on that property, and the bank had asked them to create a smaller piece of property, and they just need to rezone this in order to get their building permit. And both the staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval. During the public hearing, there were no objections from the public to this, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Due to no questions, do we want to go into a motion?
I move the Stark County Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of RZ 0922 for Taylor and Jessica Landis rezoning petition from A to RRR as meeting the goals, objectives, and implementations strategies of the Stark County Planning and Zoning Comprehensive Plan and all the requirements of the Stark County zoning ordinance, and also in the best interest of public health, safety, and welfare.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'll notify the applicant's representatives.
Thanks.
Let's see. Karen, we can move down to the Pledge of Assets.
Let me go to my page. Okay. I have the following, is my speaker working? The following pledge of assets for Stark County. For Brevera Bank, we had deposits of $38,445,285.46 and a market value of $42,206,573. The pledging required amount is $42,014,814.01, and Brevera Bank does meet that pledging amount at $44,446,526. I also have Dakota Community Bank. We had deposits of $10,199,871.78. The market value of that is $11,403,422.10, with the pledging required at $10,944,858.96. Dakota Community Bank does meet the pledging amount at $11,925,000. I would just look to the commission to accept the pledging as stated.
I would move that we approve the pledged asset spreadsheet as presented.
I'll second that.
Should we be specific? Just quick question on the institutions, because I know you have a third institution coming into play, so.
We do, and we'll go over that next.
Okay, got
Yep.
it. 10-4.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We'll do roll call vote. Commissioner Messer.
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Commissioner Franchek.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carried.
Do you want me to keep going on mine?
Yes.
Okay. My next one is to look for approval. I put out the bids for two $500,000 CDs, and the best bid came back from Cornerstone Bank at 1.25% for a year. I'm looking for the commission to approve Cornerstone Bank as a Stark County institution bank, and then also to approve myself, Karen Richard, and Pamela Winhold as signers for the bank.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Franchek. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Commissioner Messer. Or
Aye.
Commissioner, whatever. Commissioner Franchek.
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Commissioner Arthod, I vote aye. Motion carries.
Okay. And I will be taking that down then now that it's approved, is probably today even, so.
And thank you for looking around and finding the best rates.
Oh, yeah, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
The next thing I had on here was I'm gonna skip the small city grants committee, we can come back to that, but election cost approval. If you look at the sheet that I provided, that's the workers that we had for the primary election and how much, they were paid, how much was paid out. And I'm just looking for the commission to approve the stated election payroll for the 2022 primary so we can issue them their checks. It is budgeted for in the election budget.
I'll make that motion.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Commissioner Franchek.
Aye.
Commissioner Messer.
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carried.
If we want to move down farther, I can do those last two also. Those only take a minute.
Okay.
Okay. You want to do moving October?
Yes, we can do yep, go ahead.
Okay, so we have the October 4th commission meeting needs to be moved, and if the commission approves, to October 6th, which is a Thursday, because we have a conference with the NDACO in Bismarck. So if the commission would look for a motion to move that meeting to October 6th, that would be appreciated.
I would move that we move the regularly scheduled meeting from October 4 to October 6th.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Next, I had a Dakota Children's Advocacy Center raffle permit. They sent over to me, and they will be doing a raffle out at the golf course. And I'm just looking for approval for this raffle, and it will be August 25th, 2022. We want to do it now so they can get their permit number. And it'll be permit number 136, and that's what it will be printed on their tickets.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion for a raffle.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Marsh.
I'll second that.
Okay,
Just one quick question. The application meets your approval, correct?
Yes, yep. I went ahead and filled in everything just so that when you guys are ready to approve, we could just sign off on it.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Well, we're just trucking along right here. Do you want to talk about the Small City Grants Committee?
Sure.
We have plenty of time. Oh, actually, here is your Sunrise Youth Bureau, if you want to.
Oh, well, good morning, ladies. You can step right up. We're running early today.
Perfect timing then, I guess.
Yeah, perfect timing.
Well, I'm Holly Prouse. I am the Director of Sunrise Youth Bureau.
And I'm Amber Hofstad. I am the youth advisor.
And we're here basically to do our yearly visit. First of all, we would like to thank Stark County. If it wasn't for you guys and your support, Sunrise wouldn't be in existence. You guys provide our building, our utilities, you provide one meal. So again, if you guys wouldn't be the supporters that you are, we wouldn't be there. I did send the 2021 annual report, and then I did send the 6-month report with kind of our numbers. We've been extremely busy. Probably, Amber and I have been there for a lot of years, and I think this is probably the busiest we've ever been. So kind of just to give you some numbers for this year, for the 6-month report, for our attendant care, shelter care numbers, we've seen a total of 40 youth for a total of 2,179 hours. So 30 of those youth came from Stark County for a total hours of 1,294.75. So 75% of that program came from Stark County. When I broke that down, that came to having a youth at Sunrise Youth Bureau for 3 months straight. So that kind of gives you an idea. Attendant care came about at the beginning just to provide temporary housing for youth. We've been holding youth longer just because for the fact of it's harder for the zone or human services to find foster care. And it's harder to get kids into like home on the range or group homes just because a lot of those places are full. And we're also seeing more kids with mental health issues. So to find placement for these kids is taking longer amounts of time. So that's why we are ended up housing these youth for longer periods of time. The educational classes that we do in the schools, we've seen a total number of youth for 2,568. Did a total number of classes for 140. So that number that we seen just for Stark County, we seen 2,428 kids, and total number of classes done in Stark County was 127. So that was 91% of those classes were done in Stark County. So diversion, and that's the program that we work with juvenile court. We had a total of 74 youth, and 68 of those youth were from Stark County. So 92% of those youth were from Stark County. Suspension program, we've seen 14 youth. All of those youth were from Stark County, so 100% of those youth were from Stark County. And then Sunrise Youth Bureau classes, those are the classes that we do one-on-one at the Youth Bureau. We see 97 youth, 88% of those were from Stark County, so 91% of those youth were from Stark County. So it kind of shows you that, you know, you guys are our number one supporter, top supporter, but we also see the most number of kids from Stark County too. Do you guys have any questions about those? Do you guys have any questions about the programming that we do? So those are kind of our main programs that we do: attendant care, shelter care, educational classes done in the schools, diversion. Amber works closely with juvenile court for that. Out of school suspension, we mainly do that for like the area schools here. We do charge a fee for suspension. We do have a contract with juvenile court, so they do pay for the diversion program. The Sunrise Youth Bureau classes, we do charge a small fee for that, but if parents can't pay for that, we do waive that fee. And then for attendant care, if it follows the attendant care guidelines, we're able to bill the North Dakota Association of Counties. And then to give you a little update on shelter care, I know last time I spoke to you guys, it was regarding the windows for us to be able to have bedroom windows that open. We got that all done, those bedroom windows open. We have the alarms that are able to go off. And as of July 1st, we are the first shelter care first agency in North Dakota that got shelter care certification. So I think that says a lot for Sunrise Youth Bureau, that for the whole state of North Dakota, we are the first to get shelter care certified. So there's going to be a big press release. The Department of Human Services is going to do a huge press release that we are the first in the state to get shelter care certified. So something that I think we should be very proud of.
Yeah, and that goes for, you know, having the building that you guys have provided to us and allowing us to get those windows. All of those things are what helped us become shelter care certified. So thank you guys for that.
You worked hard to get that done. So, I mean, kudos right back to you too. I mean, it was a lot of time and change isn't easy.
Yeah.
It isn't. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot of paperwork and yeah, a lot of stress, but
Yep.
it's very encouraging, and we're very, very proud that we're the first agency to do that. And to be, you know, a smaller community, and to, you know, there's larger, you know, communities in the state, and to know that we're the first to put all the time and effort into it, and they came out and did a site visit and everything went well. You know, we're pretty excited, so. And change is scary, so we're hoping the change is for the better, but we'll see how this up and coming year goes, and we'll definitely keep you guys posted about that.
And
Any-
you're keeping your kids longer too, it seems like, some kids, aren't you?
Definitely. It's just harder for placement. I think it's just, I know the zones are doing like, you know, looking for placement throughout the state, and it's just, we're seeing tougher kids for sure. A lot of kids with mental health issues, and just definitely tougher kids. So I think that's why it's harder for them to find placement. A lot of foster homes, they kind of hear about what's going on with these kiddos, and a lot of them are saying no, that they just don't feel comfortable or they're not appropriate. Some of these kiddos aren't appropriate to be in a foster home with other kids, and that makes it difficult. So, but yeah, we're definitely seeing tougher and tougher kids, and it's very unfortunate and very, very sad. We're seeing a lot of sad situations as well.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that there is a lot of kids that would be placeable that they're not able to find foster homes for, that aren't so difficult children, or is it mainly the real difficult ones that they're having a hard time with?
I feel like it's the real difficult ones. And also I feel like there is a short of like foster care homes. I feel like there's a need for more higher standard of care. I know that there's something going into the old hospital, that Heartland. I don't know if you guys have heard, is it for just 18 on up, or are they going to have youth beds as well? I guess I'm not sure about that, but
I haven't heard.
yeah. Just more mental health issues. We're seeing a lot of that. We're getting a lot of phone calls from the ER where kids need a place to go, but they need to get medically cleared before we take them at Sunrise, because, you know, if they are wanting to hurt themselves, they're not appropriate to come to our agency. So I think a lot of kids right now just need a higher level of care that we can't provide. They just need more mental health services.
So where do those kids go then? They just stay at the hospital for now, or where do they go?
So to protect us and the child, we have more than ever had to say before, when dispatch calls us, we have to say, you know, have they had any suicide ideation? If they have, we have to have them go through our ER system just to be medically cleared, to show that we didn't take a suicidal kid, because that's not the type of placement that we are. Obviously, we can always have a situation where a kid maybe passes that and still does something, but we do whatever we can to make sure that kid is getting psychiatric care before they come to us. But yeah, then once they're cleared, they come over, and we have eyes on them like a hawk, and we have our facility as safe as we can possibly get it. And
So where do the ones go then? Where do they go, like if they need psychiatric care and they can't go to Sunrise Youth Bureau, like where are they going now?
so they'll be in Dickinson until the psychiatrist says where to go, but sometimes they'll be transferred to Bismarck, I guess.
Oh, so they're just staying in the hospital, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, and typically the ER doesn't hold them for very long, so if they need more higher care level, we recommend like Bismarck. Because a lot of our counselors and psychologists and psychiatrists around here, to get them in like immediately is really difficult. However, we've been utilizing that 211 emergency on-call system quite a bit, and we refer parents to that as well. And actually, we've had to use that at our agency as well, dealing with kids that are having like a mental health crisis. We'll dial 211 or law enforcement. So that's a really good asset to have as well. Did you guys have any other questions? Like I said, if you feel like you don't know like our services we provide, we can, give you a little bit more information about each of our programming. I think for the majority of you guys kind of know what we do.
Maybe explain a little bit about the diversion.
Okay, that would be Amber.
So that's me. So I work closely with juvenile court over here. So diversion is where we see first-time offenders or minor offenses. So Chase with juvenile court gets those reports from law enforcement, and then if they are the low-level offenders, they get sent to our diversion program. So I meet with the family, I meet with the youth, we talk about their citation, what happened in that specific time, any other issues the parents are seeing or concerned about. And then I kind of lay out the future for them. Like, this is what it's going to look like if we continue down this path. This is what further citations might bring you. This is the consequences you can face. And then I give consequences that are appropriate for their citation. So if they were, if they need anger management, if they need vaping classes, if they need, sometimes, a lot of what we're seeing leads to self-esteem issues. So we're doing a lot of self-esteem classes, shoplifting. If they, have like a drug charge or alcohol or shoplifting or anything like that, I typically have them do some community service, restitution if needed, just really anything we can come up with to help them learn from their mistake and to educate them on how to do better in the future. So once they meet all the requirements and parents are saying, yeah, everything's better or everything's good, I send a letter back to juvenile court and let them know that they've successfully completed the diversion program. If it's not successful, Chase and I have a really good working relationship, so I can say, hey, I just don't think it's really working over here. The kid isn't really changing behavior, consequences haven't seemed to help, and then Chase can have that moment to bring them back in for an informal if it's a delinquent offense. So it's kind of like a second chance for them, basically, to come to us and avoid an informal court hearing.
We also do like crisis intervention, so we take like a parent referral. So before it gets to the point where law enforcement gets involved and juvenile court gets involved, a parent can call us if they're having any issues as well. Amber and I are also on call 24 hours a day, so we both have cell phones that are on call, so it's kind of good to know too. So if the Youth Bureau office is closed, we're always like willing to take phone calls. So if somebody can't get a hold of one of us, they'll call the other, and one of us will always answer as well. Another important program I think we have is the education one, because I think prevention is key too, to get to those little kids before like future issues happen. So that would be Shannon, and she's our youth educator. So at the beginning of the school year, she sends out a letter to all the 8 county schools stating that, these are some of the classes that we offer, and she goes anywhere from preschool age to seniors in high school. So whether it's like respect and rules, conflict resolution, vaping's a huge issue now, anger management. And then every year in our budget, we put in money so we can get new curriculum. So we try to, go to the little kids, talk to them about these issues to help further assist with future issues when they get older. So I think prevention is key too, to talk to those little kids about these things too. And then we don't charge the schools, means we get county and city funding. We don't charge the schools for her time and her travel or whatever. Any other comments or questions about what Sunrise does?
So what is the youngest that you take?
So for like to house youth, way back in the day, we've had unique situations where it was kind of a kidnapping situation where a non-custodial parent took a little 4-year-old girl across state lines, and a deputy ended up pulling him over, and so that little girl was like 4 years old until the custodial parent could pick her up. So we've had those unique situations where they've been really little, but I would say average age would be, 10 to 17 probably. Yeah.
Years ago, it used to be the 16, 17-year-olds that we saw most, but I would say now the 10 to 12, 10 to 13 is who we're seeing.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing younger and younger kids.
Which technically too, it's services at a younger age, which is, we can look at that as a good thing as well, that we are getting to the problem before the child turns 17 and is harder to change that behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, never a dull moment, I guess. Every day is different for us.
Well, you do a very good job on your budget too. It's every year your budget is spot on, so that's really appreciated.
Thank you. Yeah, we're really frugal. You know, we never overspend and,
Yep.
well, we appreciate you guys. Like I said, if it wasn't for Stark County, we wouldn't be here. You guys are our #1 supporters, so thank you so much.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. We did bring some more. Did everybody get those annual reports when I mailed them off? If
Not
not,
mailed them, but I printed them.
did you? Do you want a nicer copy? We brought some nicer copies.
I do for the county's copy, if that's okay.
Okay, yep. We can give you guys these, and then we do have some brochures too we can give you guys. Anytime you guys want to swing over and visit us, you know where we're located, so.
So in other words, we can come spend the night and just see how well you take care of these young people?
Yeah, if you want to. Sometimes I want to put myself in attendant care to get away from my husband and kids. Nice little break there. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your summer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I think we can go into our break, so we can do a 15-minute break before the abatements at 10 o'clock. And then we can be finished. Okay, break till
Oh, we have some other things.
We have a 10 a.m. abatement for Richard and Vicky Carney. Good morning.
Good morning. I don't know if they have anything. This is, I'm Natalie, Stark County Tax Director's Office. This abatement is basically just a correction. They took out a building permit in the city of Dickinson to do basement finish and never completed it. The assessor's office added it in for 2021, so now they're just abating it out. So they just need your approval on it.
And the city's already approved it,
Yep, city's
right?
already approved it. Yep. They basically took the value, oh, she did, it was at 279.9 for 2021, and they took it down to 251.4. So,
I'll make a motion to approve the abatement for Richard and Vicky Carney.
I'll second.
Roll call vote. Commissioner Franchek.
Aye.
Commissioner Messer.
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carried.
thank you.
We have Stark County Records Management Policy. Joetta Piercy.
Good morning, Joetta Piercy, Human Resources Director. This is a policy that was written so that we have something formal, that we follow the established North Dakota State Records Administrator policy under Century Code, that they have a retention schedule out there that we dispose and archive records. And so the purpose is basically to reduce risks associated with retaining records longer than the approved timeline or disposing of them too early. It goes through the definition of a record, the different types of records. So the open records are those that are open to the public unless otherwise authorized by a specific law. So some examples are minutes, memos, reports, outlines, notes, those sorts of things, employee salary and job performance. Exempt records are those, maybe all or a part of the record is neither required by law to be open to the public, nor is it confidential, but may be withheld at the discretion. And so, you know, some examples of these are home addresses, home personal phone numbers, driver's license, dependent information, emergency contact, personal finance, you know, that we use for payroll. But they have to be exempt because we do have to be able to, you know, do direct deposits for people or withhold insurance and that sort of thing. Applications for employment are exempt until the finalists are designated. Then those applications and related records are open. Records relating to the internal investigation of a complaint of misconduct are exempt, but only until the investigation is complete or for 75 days, whichever is first. And then there are the confidential records, and nothing in this record can be released. And examples are social security numbers, phone numbers, and home addresses of prosecutors or employees of law enforcement agencies, employee medical treatment records, employee assistance records, criminal history records, electronic security codes and passwords, and then our workers' comp employer files. Then it goes into some guidelines of identifying a record, and the is it a record PDF will be attached to this policy, which is kind of the, I think you guys have a copy of it where you can go through and kind of determine whether it is a record. And then the retention schedules are out on the North Dakota State Records Administrator has the retention schedules for everything out there, and you can look those up. And then it goes into what can be done with those records. So there's shredding and deleting of them. Those only have to be like confidential or exempt records. Otherwise, you can just landfill, recycle, or delete. And that's like disposing in the trash or a recycling container. No special protections required. And then the archives and preservation, there are some records that are identifies as historical and are sent to the state archives as required. So then we get into requests for records. And for this policy, we've developed a dedicated email for tracking purposes. So all citizens or anybody who wants a record can email recordsrequest@starkcountynd.gov, and then they'll get a confirmation email that we received it. It'll be sent on to the appropriate party for the information. Amanda would review it as appropriate. And then we would release that information if it was open record. I wanted to note too that the sheriff's office does already have their own policy. They have policy 805, records maintenance and release. So they have been, doing this on their own for quite some time. So.
Joda, on that, the records on the email, so then who gets all of them to forward to Amanda? I mean, who gets those first?
So if the records request is for a certain department, then they would work with Amanda and,
I think she's asking who has
Oh.
the access to this email, because it's gonna have to be one person that's gonna have to then look at what the content of the email is and then send it to the appropriate department.
Okay, yeah. So I have this, this email comes to me.
Okay, and then you send it to the appropriate department for the rep, okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. I think the only thing left is just allowable charges, and that's all out there in Century Code. So.
Joette, I have a quick question. How does this pertain to, and maybe you covered it and I missed it, personnel files? Is there anything?
Well, there are some things in personnel files that are exempt or confidential. So it just depends what they're requesting. So if they're requesting somebody's salary, for instance, or their job performance, that would be an open record.
Okay, I was asking more on the retention side. Do we still?
Oh, we follow the guidelines, and personnel records are 7 years or
Okay.
6 years after the last action.
Gotcha, thank you.
Yeah. And typically, we don't, that wouldn't be until they terminated, for instance. Yeah.
So on here, is there, I don't see like different things that you keep for a specific number of days or times or months?
Yep, because that is under retention schedules, item number 1. You need to go to the nd.gov ITD record management website, because it's all in there, and every year they release a schedule.
Okay.
Because there's no way you could put it in a policy. Yeah, and as soon as you put it in one, it would be updated, and you'd be continuously trying to update your schedules. So we let the North Dakota State Record Management Administrator handle that.
So could that be added, for the employees and for residents and everything? Could that just be added monthly onto there? Like, okay, there was a change and added onto the,
Well, typically you are aware of any changes in your department, and then the ND, I'd say, they update us of changes like legislative type changes, you mean? Yeah.
It's like a full booklet almost, like when you print it.
It's huge. They classify a lot of different records in a lot of different ways, so it's best just to double check with the state on what their retention policy is. And the majority of things that we get, we're gonna have them retained anyways, so.
okay.
Joetta, does a political sub have the ability to modify that retention, either more restrictive, less restrictive, or is the state the barrier, the Century Code, is that the barrier and there is no variance from that?
It's probably a question for me. You could always go more restrictive, but you can't go less restrictive.
Okay, got it.
So we had been talking in the past about how long we have to keep our text messages and stuff like that. Is that something that should be included in this?
It could be, but since, we had tabled that policy, we didn't include any of that.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you think with that, we should include a few of those things, so it's not, so they
I
don't
think the
have to go
major
to the
thing right,
book?
sorry, I think the major thing right now is the request for records so that we, I think, can get the open records policy moving smoothly, so it isn't going to myself or Commissioner Franchuk or whoever, so we can keep track of them. There's no way we're gonna be able to, at least in my opinion, put the records retention policy of the state into a county policy. If there's certain things that you want to pick out, that you want to really highlight, that would probably be a better use of the policy, but they're, like Karen said, I mean, you can go to the North Dakota IT website and you'll flip through probably, I don't know, 6 pages, maybe not quite that much, but it's close, of all of the records that they have and how long you have to keep them, so.
And all the time frames are different depending on what it is.
So absence of a county-specific policy on retention, the policy would be the
North Dakota, the state guidelines.
Yeah,
Got
and that's what we, that's in the policy, our policies that we would follow that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Make a motion to approve the records management policy.
I will second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. A roll call vote, Commissioner Franchuk,
Aye.
Commissioner Messer,
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh,
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carried.
And then the only thing I would request on this is that the Stark County put these on, it's on the website, the new email address, and we'll try to just get that information out to the public so that it gets utilized.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was just waiting for it to get approved.
perfect.
Thank you. Okay, we have Small City Grants Committee.
So I know that this discussion has been brought up quite a bit with the small cities coming in with their water and sewer infrastructure issues. And, you know, we've discussed things about these issues and how they're going to be funded and who's going to pay for them. And I think my suggestion to the commission would be maybe we do, if 2 of the commissioners would like to do a grant committee, and with myself is fine too, and get somebody, or if you guys have any suggestions, obviously, if you have any ideas. I do have one person that showed interest in potentially, you know, being contracted out with the county to apply for as many of these grants that are out there for the small cities, because the small cities don't have it in their budget. She's not a professional grant writer. I mean, it depends what the commission is looking at. But I do think we need to get something rolling on this because the small cities, you know, have all came and asked for funding.
Why aren't the small cities applying for their own grants?
They don't have it in their budget to pay somebody to apply for their grants.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about either sharing or cost sharing, you know, the administrative costs of potentially helping with grant applications. I don't think that would be a bad thing. I think that would be a good thing. Beyond that, I think, it's just a whole array of discussion and possibilities. So I don't know if you have a recommendation at this point. I mean, I'd gladly help with this part of it, the setting that up or whatever. But I do think it needs to be professional, and, you know, I don't know if group like Vision West, Deb Nelson, is that her group? You know, I think she could play a part in that. I don't know if Roosevelt Regional Custer could play a part of that. And so I think there's tools there. We just have to make the small cities aware of it and walk them through the process. And I think that would ultimately be a good thing.
When I
Right.
think you have a person in mind, don't you, Karen?
I do have another option if we didn't want to use somebody, use a grant company like that, and if we wanted to do some sort of compensation separately, that is willing to put in the work and go from city to city and apply for grants for them. That's another option. I think what I'm more looking for is it kind of gets tossed around a lot, and I would like maybe 2 commissioners assigned to, like I said, a small grants committee just to help get the ball rolling and get things figured out, and we can kind of brainstorm on what we would like to do to help. And so,
Well, and I know that Shauna Davenport and I can talk to her first. I mean, I'm not volunteering her right now. I can talk to her and for the committee, and I can also talk to Lisa Heiser. I don't know about them too. I mean, they both have filled out and done in the county most of the grants.
well, we're not actually looking, like, the committee itself isn't looking to do any of the grant writing. They're looking to find the people to do the grant
That's right.
writing to help them.
Those would be people
So-
that would just help guide us to find, to let that person do it on the committee, is what I'm saying. You know, that lady, the gal that you have in mind, we could just meet and guide her and meet with Southard and Belfield, Richardson, Taylor, Leffert.
Aren't we just doing this to form a committee to find somebody to do the grant writing?
Yes, and to see what everybody's ideas are on it as far as reaching out to Roosevelt Custer and everything like that. And
We're not gonna be going out to little communities to.
no, we're just trying to nail down the process that we would like as far as finding
Yep.
somebody and finding some way to help them with their funding. It's hard for me to go back and forth between the entire commission. I would like maybe 2 commissioners that would like to help me with this.
So-
And,
Is there gonna be any compensation from the county to this person?
well, that's just it. That's part of the discussions, because if we're going to be contracting somebody out, the small cities don't have it in their budget to contract somebody else to do it. And so the discussion is what route we want to go, and then bring it before the full commission.
And I think in the long run, that will save this commission and Stark County money to where if we can find somebody and find the process of how it's gonna work with an outside contracted party, that they're not coming to us for all the money. And we can find somebody to do these grants for them.
Yes. And I know that Neil has looked into some of them, and I know that Dean works with Roosevelt Custer. If Bernie's interested, I just need like 2 people to come together and brainstorm with me a little bit on how we want to go about doing this, if you guys are interested.
Commissioner Messer, would you like to work with me and Karen?
Sure.
And like I said, we could call Shauna, we could, and just come just to do the brainstorming part, because she's so good at it.
Yeah.
Just for the ideas.
I agree. I conceptually, I agree with everything here. When you break it down and kind of read between the lines, if we're creating another lane, I mean, we're already contributing to Roosevelt Regional Custer. We already contribute to West Dakota West or West Dakota Vision. So why not use our investment in those groups as a first spot?
Sure.
Rather than the last spot or no spot. So
And Dean, you're on Roosevelt Custer, correct?
So yeah, I'm gonna just to go along with that, our administrator actually resigned from that, and they just signed into a contract. Now Bowman County Development Corporation is gonna be our administrator for Roosevelt Custer, so we're just getting that rolling, so there'll be a lot of changes there, but we'll have a whole team now working on our projects too, so they're their team.
Carla, would you be open to
Commissioner
Dean?
Franchuk, would you like to be on it then? Since you're on that board and working with Bowman? I mean, I'm more than happy to do it, but if you would like to, that's fine, but I can do it. Not passing the buck.
If you want to go ahead, I guess we got to do some dealing with that. We're still, the development part of it yet to get it rolling, what we want to do there, so.
Okay.
I'm quite busy with that.
Okay, I will stay on, and we can just call you if we need something or have questions.
Okay.
Sorry, Commissioner Messer, you're stuck with me.
I think that's everything I had. I just want to get it going for them, and whether we contract somebody out individually to help or go through one of our services, I think we've seen every town at this point this year, so.
I just know that some of the residents have contacted me, and some of the residents, that don't live in the towns are kind of a little bit skeptical about us giving the small towns too much money.
Right.
I understand that, and then on the other part of it all, we can't let these small towns fall apart either.
Yeah.
We gotta support them.
If they die, we die. Yeah,
Yep.
that's without a doubt.
That's what I was gonna say, because once the small towns lose all their infrastructure and everything else, nobody's gonna live there.
Yep,
It reflects back onto us, and we still are responsible for it.
that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, I think everything, does anybody have anything from the public? With that, we're looking at you, you're the public.
One public person.
Yeah. Okay, with that being said, I would entertain a motion for dismissal.
I move we adjourn.
Second.